SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on this show are not the opinions of TeleSouth Communications, its management, or advertisers.
William Carey University Athletics.
Every sport you find exciting.
Crusader Talk.
Crusader Talk. And now.
This is Crusader Talk. Crusader Talk. We're covering everything William Carey University athletics, from the field to the court and the diamond, on SuperTalk Hattiesburg 97.3 and SuperTalkHattiesburg.com.
Well, welcome everyone to Crusader Talk. Glad you're with us here on this Monday. Caleb Hamill, Josh West. Dalton Stanford's back in the studio. Dalton, where were you last week?
I wasn't feeling quite as good. I was worried maybe I got a little bit of that horrible lettuce.
You stole my open. I was about to say something about, I am feeling good because I haven't had a salad in weeks.
Me and my wife have been saying, you know what, pizza and donuts would never. All right?
That's right.
Forever faithful.
Brings a whole new meaning to the devil's lettuce.
Yeah, I mean, and there wasn't anybody that didn't think it wasn't the grade D beef, good for human consumption. That was actually the Taco Bell issue. That's where my brain went first.
Do you remember it was that one episode of The Simpsons where they were talking about the cafeteria food? I think it was like grade H. Like it said it was like horse meat, safe for children and the elderly or something like that.
I'm not trying to talk outside of school. One of my friends though went to Taco Bell one night and he said it changed his perspective.
Oh no!
From there on out, because when he asked, I'm like, so many tacos, whatever. It said, sorry, we can't make those tacos right now. Our meat hose is broken.
What?
Your what now?
Meat hose?
Our meat hose is broken. I'm like, say less.
That means that's kind of like the same stuff that the chicken McNuggets are made out of. They come out of the meat hose.
I was about to say, don't you blaspheme my McNuggets
for me.
Hey, it's pink goo. It's delicious.
I lived off of Taco Bell $5 boxes when I was in college. Sometimes it was
I like
open.
I like fast food. I like a lot of fast food. I like Taco Bell. I like McDonald's.
That's what you can't be a play-by-play guy and not eat fast food. If you don't do it, I don't know how. You must carry around a lunchbox everywhere you go, because broadcasters, especially Friday night football broadcasters, are known to live off of gas station pizza, potato chips, and the random concession stand Powerade.
That's right. And I want to say, just for the record, I did just get a Taco Bell notification on my phone.
They're listening
as we talk about this.
They are listening.
They want you back. They want your business.
Not anytime soon.
Oh, right.
Okay, we got derailed enough, gentlemen.
Well, I mean, it's summer. Yeah, let's be honest. I mean, there's all kind of stuff going on. I tell you what, where the meat hose is not broken? The calf.
This is true.
Did you make it out? Eli made it out to the calf and had the fried chicken last Wednesday. Said it was delicious.
Is it open again?
Oh, it never closes.
I thought it did some over the summer.
And they're consistent. No, they're consistent over the summer. And Taco Tuesday's a thing now at Carey. And then you've got fried chicken Wednesday, fried fish Friday.
Absolutely.
Red beans and rice Monday is going to be, and then they'll build around.
So what's
their
Thursday?
Red beans and rice are really good.
Is Thursday, do they do meatloaf there? Or is it pork chops? I don't know what they do. I haven't been on. I was going to say, those are classic Thursday.
Count me as a fan
meals.
of, again, I'm always going to find something to eat at the Carey Calf. I will leave full.
I got to go back now.
That's right. Put it on the schedule. We got to make it happen.
Gentlemen, we gotta go.
The beef tips over noodles.
Oh, yeah.
It's good. It's pretty good. Kind of recapping our last week. Obviously, stuff in William Carey sports, nothing changes a ton from week to week here in these months as we count our way down to the season's beginning here in mid to late August. But you and I had a chance to represent William Carey this past week at the Broadcasters, or what is it, Mississippi Sportscasters Kickoff Gathering, the Mouthful Convention. And that's not just because we talk a lot. But we had the representation. A certain other school in Hattiesburg, whose name we'll leave off the table, he said they didn't have any representation. They had invites. They didn't show up like we did. But we had a good time, I thought.
We did.
I enjoyed it.
We had a good time. Yeah, I enjoyed the panel discussion. Always a good time being up there at French Camp. And I thought it was worth noting the one thing that was a real takeaway for me this year, as much as any, I don't know what it was about it, but something about the prayer, the message, the just the impact that French Camp Academy is having on the kids that they have up there. What did they say? 95% have no parent in their life.
Yeah, so it's something crazy.
Or maybe of the 100 and something students, 6 did or something like that. So it was some astronomical number. So the things that we take for granted, and even like some of the speakers and even like maybe a Jim Ellis that referenced his dad and or some other people referenced their families, then immediately that was referenced when French Academy gave their speech of that, hey, stick around, go to our store, stay in town a minute. If you want a tour, we'd be happy to give you one. If you want something really special to be a part of and to sow into ministry, French Camp Academy was it. And it is a very special place.
Yeah, very special indeed. And one of the fun things we got to do was, you mentioned panel discussions. We also had Jim Ellis come back and be our keynote speaker. Yeah, that was refreshing because we've had not to say we've had a lull in the speakers lately, but we've been a little bit off kilter of topics the last couple of years. I like Rocky Felker. I've gotten to call a football game with him before at East Central, and he was cool, but he got off in the weeds talking about all his children and just kind of generally talking about himself, which I love him. But Jim kind of brought us back to broadcasting and his journey, what it did for him in his life and how thankful he was for the opportunities. And I couldn't pass up an opportunity, though, to get a fun question in there. Because, Jim's a guy that I had looked up to for broadcasting for a lot of my life. It's one of the best ones asked because I think I may have been the only one. But I knew for a long time that Jim cared a lot about his health. If he went on any road trip with the baseball team, he was always mapping out his run, where he was going to go in the morning. He was always running. And he's still rail thin because he's just been like a marathon runner for his whole adult life. Well, I had to ask him, I said, Jim, I know you've done this for a long, long time, but I have to ask, did that at all help you when combating the secondhand smoke exposure you had room with Jack Crystal all those years? Because anybody that knows Jack Crystal knows he was a chain smoker. Of course, it got a little bit of a laugh when I asked the question, but Jim said, funny enough, you say that. And he went off on a tangent to say that he went to his annual physical with his doctor, and the doctor goes, "Do you smoke, Mr. Ellis?" "No, sir, I don't." "Well, does anybody in your house smoke?" "Your parents, your wife, whatever." No, nobody in my house smokes." Goes, "Well, are you around somebody that smokes a good bit?" He goes, "Well, I room with Jack Crystal." Because you need to stop doing that because it's affecting you. And so there's a whole thing, and he ended up actually getting a separate room in the final years of their career together in the broadcast booth. But a lot of fun stories, and I feel like that's
kind of charming that that Jack missed him enough to say, "Hey, man, I got plenty of room if you're bored up in your room."
The first time they separated.
And then Jim didn't have the heart ever to tell him.
Yeah,
that shows you how much they appreciated one another and how well they worked together all those years.
They did. And we were supposed to have John Carrero, who was Mississippi State's sideline reporter, and he was also the color commentator analyst with Jack for a number of years before Jim stepped into the booth. Unfortunately, he, for some reason, wasn't able to make it. I think he had a family conflict that came up. But, man, you talk about a lot of stories in one room. That's a lot of storytellers in one room.
They had a really good chemistry when you had John on the sidelines with Jack and that group. I mean, you didn't have to be a fan of anybody in the game. You didn't have to be a state fan. You didn't have to be an SEC football fan. You could easily listen to that broadcast.
Yeah. And, one of the fun things is that we get to meet all kinds of different people from around the state. A lot of North Mississippi people just because of where French Camp is and proximity to all the schools up there. But, we get a chance to represent William Carey, tell people about what we're doing down here in Hattiesburg. And your son actually got to make the trip this year, his first time to go up there and be a part of that event, as he's kind of embarking on his journey into possible broadcasting and announcing.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it comes pretty natural to him for obvious reasons. He's grown up around it. You were asking him what he thought of it, and he's like, well, honestly, it's kind of a lot of things that you and Mr. Caleb have told me, or it's kind of you and my dad have told me. So a lot of it, I think, he would have loved to have seen more of like the charts and, some of the strategy,
the
actual practical
things.
nuts and bolts of it. But in terms of just the broad stroke, fundamentals of broadcasting, score, down, distance, where is it, that kind of thing. That's where, he's heard that his whole life and things I've harped on growing up. But yeah, if it's going to be interesting to see, it's certainly something that he could grow more passionate about. Right now, it's something that he wants to do among other things. But it's going to be interesting to see if it
you can pay bills that way,
right? But I wonder if it's something that's going to click with him to where he wants to do more of it because he's still so young.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean he's 18, but he's kind of more of like a 17, 16-year-old at heart. So it's not like he's 18 going on 25 or 18 going on 30. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see indeed. And I feel like there are going to be some good opportunities ahead for him in the coming weeks. I say weeks.
No, you're right.
It is weeks. We're a month away
weeks.
from a season beginning already. Some opportunities may be coming his way. And if you haven't heard Elijah do a game or announce before, he sounds a lot like Josh. Let's be honest. He's different. He's got his own quality. You can tell the apple doesn't fall far from that tree. All right, stay with us. We're actually going to talk some William Carey stuff when we come back. Trust me. Stay with us.
You're listening to Crusader Talk on SuperTalk Hattiesburg 97.3 and SuperTalkHattiesburg.com.
All right, rolling right along here on Crusader Talk. Glad you're with us. Caleb Hamill, Josh West, Dalton Stanford. Cruising right on through the summer, I guess, weeks that we have left. I was going to say the several months, but we're on the back end of that.
Pedal school started today.
That's crazy.
Everybody goes back tomorrow, but the freshmen were in session today.
I do not envy you in the traffic situation.
Yeah, but I'm so glad that those days are behind me now.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's pretty nice. I'm nowhere close. I'm in the preschool stage right now.
How close are you from pre-K?
I don't even know where he's going to go. I know what district we live in. I know where some of the other options are. If homeschool is something we'll go into. I know you talked about doing homeschool.
Yeah, we're doing that with
second.
The second, yep.
But we're going we're just going to go in some direction someday. We're going to keep kicking that can down the road until we have to make a decision. But I'll tell you one thing. What's not on the table is moving houses to get into a different district because my starter home quickly became my forever home, or I call it my until further notice home.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just that quick. It became a different day and age with interest rates and what all the different and then real estate prices just went through the roof.
Yeah, I was talking with a buddy of mine today. We were discussing technology prices like hard drives and stuff. This is what nerds do. And he said, "Man, I'm just waiting for this AI bubble to burst, and then some hard drives and other tech stuff can become more affordable." I said, "Man, I got a couple bubbles I'm ready for them to pop: gas prices, home prices, tech prices."
Allegedly, this infrastructure stuff, if you're in anything infrastructure, the roads, the bridges, the data centers, we're looking at 10-year run here. This is a run. It's a big run.
Yeah. Speaking of infrastructure, one thing, we're going to get to Kevin McConnell, but he's not on the phone, just a story about him. But at church, we've been going through a study on Nehemiah. I don't know how much you've read Nehemiah. It's not an often quoted or looked at book in the Bible, but Nehemiah up through chapter 6, they are rebuilding the wall around Jerusalem. And it's a big deal. And a lot of stuff is going on to try to detract Nehemiah from the task at hand. But they finished the wall in 52 days, and they finished it in the month of Elul, which is roughly August, September. So I was like, backdate that. You mean they finished an entire, however many foot wall around the entire city of Jerusalem, 52 days in the heat of the summer? You can't even get the papers off a civil engineer's desk in 52 days for a quarter-mile stretch of Highway 49 in a road project at MDOT, much less build an entire wall around a fortified city in 52 days.
They were a little more motivated.
They were. Nehemiah made sure of it, but it's just fascinating to me.
Yeah. No, I think about all the technology and all that went into building the pyramids. How do they do it?
Yeah.
We don't know.
The Sphinx, all those things, man. It's different day, different time, different labor conditions. We won't break that down too much. I have no good transition out of that into where I was going. I normally do, but it's a Monday, so you'll forgive me. So we had in the discussions, I think it was last episode, I want to say, that had a former Crusader that got signed to a professional deal, Andres Kokoschka. He signed with Charlotte Independence. It was one of the top goalkeepers in the SSAC, a first team all conference player when he was at William Carey. So he signed with them. But then, not to be outdone, Kevin McConnell also in the past couple of days got to sign his first professional contract with Ballymena United Football Club. It's up near his homeland in Northern Ireland, in the Northern Ireland Premiership. And Kivo is one of those guys that was just one of the most liked people to be around. What a team player he was, too, and good golfer as well. You got to spend a little time around Kivo. He was always a life of a party.
Yeah, he was just fantastic. You mentioned just how good he was, SSAC Freshman of the Year, SSAC Offensive Player of the Year, and then the SSAC Player of the Year, while helping lead the Crusaders to an SSAC Conference Championship and the NAIA Final Four. So
he was a part of some special teams there.
He was, and he was one of the linchpins of that. But no, he had all of the charisma to go with it. Was just a great ambassador for the program and for William Carey, and was just a joy to be around. Was just one of those guys that when he got out, you'd do anything in the world for him. And so, I hope that we get a chance to watch him play in person again one day. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. Speaking of soccer, did you reach out to our friends from across the pond as their FIFA World Cup run came to an end, or at least got sent down to the consolation game against France?
Oh, I wish we could share some of the comments that were made after. That we can. Yeah. But let's just say people are passionate about
very, very
Bowl
passionate.
England. But I was, when I saw Tom today, former Crusader Tom Dos Anjos, I said, Tom, hey, look. I said, hey, you won third. You got the bronze. I said, that's better than silver. Yeah. I said, but you won your last game. You would have lost your last game.
That's true.
He's like, so I made.
It's quite literally a consolation.
Yep, somewhat of a compelling argument, but still, it's gold or nothing in their eyes. Now, one of the things that our very own Clayton Rush brought to my attention, we've got a Women's World Cup next summer. And we don't take second fiddle in women's soccer on the global stage.
And I really wonder if there are going to be any former Crusaders that find themselves back in their homeland helping. I doubt it at that stage, probably too young, but could see, depending on what they're doing these next couple of years, a perhaps future World Cup. Wouldn't that be crazy to get to say, hey, I remember calling her college games?
That'd be fun. It very well could happen. I mean, you're not putting out a scenario that's far-fetched.
No, not at all. I mean, we've seen some international attention given to several players in recent years. Maria Azarias. I mean, you saw at the D1 level, Mariangela Jimenez, who left Carey, but had a decent career finishing off at Florida State. But nevertheless, just to have somebody with ties to William Carey getting some limelight on a national stage is pretty awesome. And it seems like right now, at least just on the men's side, we're getting that a little bit with Kivo and Kokoschka. So hats off to those two guys.
You're going to see people that come through Carey that are, launching careers, relaunching careers, extending careers, just with the current landscape right now of college athletics. But absolutely, moving forward, could we see that scenario? I certainly think we're going to see that scenario, in particular on the women's side, where this area, and Carey could have ties to it, where we see HFC. And there's so many Carey ties to HFC that we see an HFC lady within the next 10 to 15 years become a superstar and then go on to make a run for the national team, if you will, because we've already seen that in Mississippi before.
Yeah. Now, they're not the only ones getting involved in some national stuff right now. I was looking back at some things. R.J. Stinson spent some time in the Frontier League this summer. He's played for the Tri-City Valley Cats. He's second-best team batting average right now, .349. That's pretty awesome for a guy that's not too far removed from college to be doing so hot right there in the Frontier League, slugging at a .421 clip. And he has gotten 3 home runs, 44 total hits through 49 games. He's been playing a good bit as a 25-year-old. And then Patrick Lee, who we mentioned last time on the program, has been elevated from high A to double A in the Detroit Tigers Association. So congratulations to those two guys in particular that have been making some headlines there in the baseball landscape over this summer.
I've got to get up and see the Mud Monsters. Everything they're doing with concessions and promotions, and they're down to the logo, to the uniforms, to the giveaways, everything looks like a lot of fun. I've just got to get up there and see them play. And there's a ton of Mississippi connections, obviously, with them being right there at Trustmark Park in Pearl. So, and then the Frontier League, I mean, they had a couple guys get picked up into affiliated ball last summer. And I would think they would have a guy or two here late with a chance to land on here as well. Yeah.
I really need to go back and look at and see all the different characters that are involved in that right now. Because I can think of a couple of the Mud Monsters that I actually remember their college playing days. But it's a cool product. It is. I mean, it's not Banana Ball, but some people don't want to be Banana Ball either. It's just a solid, good, entertaining baseball league, especially for our locale.
Yeah, and it just has to have time to – they've got to be able to make the numbers work, and they're doing that with turfing the infield, with the things they do in the offseason, concerts, events, maybe a 5K and or a half marathon, and with the Christmas Village they do, with all the lights and the fire pits and the the train, everything they do, Santa and all the different crafts and so forth. Those are the type of events that make Trustmark Park have the resources to keep that stadium up.
That's right. All right, coming up next in our long segment, we've got Ben Smith, Assistant Athletics Director, joining us. He will be on the phone. We got big things coming up in the next 2 weeks, as it'll be Coach Bobby Halford's induction into the Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame. That'll be at the end of the month on into August 1st, kind of a 2-day event they have going on there. We're going to talk to Ben about that, plus a whole lot more about what's going on in Cary as we wind down the dog days of summer. Stay with us. This is Crusader Talk.
You're tuned in to Crusader Talk on SuperTalk Hattiesburg 97.3 and SuperTalkHattiesburg.com.
All right, third segment of the program as you listen to Crusader Talk. We are pleased to be joined by our very own Ben Smith, friend of the pod. Talk a little bit about what's going on in William Carey these days over the summer. A lot of moving going on. I'm not just talking about coaching stuff with Coach Ryan McKenzie in the opening now that's available for track and field, but moving as far as some branding and all. And Ben, we were just talking amongst ourselves during the break just about how good this deal is that William Carey now is going to have a more centralized brand and clothing store opportunity ahead of us. It just feels like it legitimizes a little bit more of Carey as an operation. Compared to having 3 or 4 different companies all just kind of converging and helping out. To be all under one umbrella, it feels nice.
Yes, and I think it's going to do a lot of good for our branding and marketing our brand. We've recently partnered with Adidas and Game One as our official merchandise provider for William Carey Athletics. So any apparel will be Adidas now. All of our teams will use all Adidas. So we're really excited about that. And then we've also, back in the spring, and I think we may have talked about this a while back, we launched our team store online with a partnership with a company called Athletic Solutions. So there's like 3 different tiers to that store online. There's kind of a general overall store where you can get apparel and accessories on there, and then there's a team specific store as well. So you can get William Carey baseball, William Carey basketball, and so on. And then the third part of that is the NIL store. So every one of our student athletes beginning in August will be signed up on that website. They'll have their own store, which gives fans an opportunity to go out and get let's say a William Carey shirt that's got your favorite player's name or number on it, and a portion of that goes to that player for name, image, and likeness. So really excited about all of that. We'll have hoping to have a 100% participation rate from all of our student athletes with that NIL store.
That's really cool. And I mean, to think, if we roll back the clock just 4 years ago, and we're talking about this same topic, people think we were crazy. And I know NIL was just starting out kind of in the D1 ranks at that point, but to think that we're talking about NAIA athletes with personalized NIL stores to where people can buy merchandise that will in turn give back some of the proceeds to the athlete. It's pretty awesome because, I mean, why couldn't or shouldn't you be able to profit off of who you are?
Right, and and I think what we're doing is what NIL was initially meant to be.
Absolutely.
I think that's obviously going a little off the rails now, especially at the Power 4 schools with the money there, and then you get into revenue sharing with athletes and things like that. And I don't think the initial NIL stuff was meant to be the way that it's progressed to now. I think it was always meant to be something like this. And I know when we first started talking about NIL years ago and paying college athletes, it was because college athletes could not work a job and play sports at the same time, and it was more of a living expense kind of thing. It's like these kids don't even have living expenses because they don't have the opportunity to work. And we went really quick from living expenses to 18-year-old freshman football player with a $2 million signing bonus at Texas A&M or wherever. I don't know what living expenses are like in College Station, Texas, but if you've got to give an 18-year-old kid $2 million, it's a lot higher there than it is in Hattiesburg.
That oil money will drive up the cost of living. I know. I talked to Jed and the Beverly Hillbillies. I mean, they know all about that stuff. But I look back and I think back to when this seemed like a common sense thing that NIL should be in its basic form something that exists. I think of that. I think it was a UCF kicker that had a kind of a brand for himself as an amateur on YouTube, and he was part of the YouTube money making program to where his views would in turn get him a check written every month or so. And all of a sudden he's a D1 college player, and they say, well, that would be you profiting off your name, image, and likeness. You can't be on YouTube and be a college kicker. He said, well, I won't be a college kicker then. And so it's things like that, or the fact that a golf athlete couldn't host their own school over the summer to teach lessons to kids, because then it would be profiting off of, your name's attached to it to teach lessons, so it couldn't even make summer money off that. But I like what you're saying, that this is kind of more at its roots what NIL should be about. And that's kind of what the moniker has always been when we talk about NAIA athletics, is that it's even in their moniker, it's the right way to play. And it feels like we're dealing in NIL the right way.
Well, and I believe so. And that could change in the future, obviously. Even though I may not agree with the way some things are in college athletics now, we can't let our student athletes suffer because of our own opinions. We obviously want to do what's best for them and be in that competitive market. So all of this could change a year from now. It could go off the rails, but for now, we feel like this is at least a getting our feet wet opportunity for our athletes, and I think it'll be a good thing, and it'll to give them an opportunity to at least families and stuff to have their names on the back of the shirts, or it'll be good for fans anyway.
Right. Yeah, we're talking with Ben Smith, the assistant athletics director at William Carey, and Ben, I'm just thinking about it out loud. If there's just somebody you really need to, be a good baseball player at Carey, the Southern Draw podcast, poster child, that's, first
Right.
baseman or something. There's just money coming out the ears of that industry over there for you in the outdoors.
Right.
Maybe you'll have a feature column in some publication that you want them to be a part of. Now,
I tell you what, if Coach Halford can find about a 96-mile-an-hour arm, the Southern Draw podcast will absolutely look into that.
you find you a 96-mile-an-hour hurler that loves to fish, and we can talk business.
Right. That's right.
Speaking of Coach Halford, it kind of gears me in a direction that I wanted to take this, and that's that coming up not this weekend but the next, we're going to have a very special moment over there in the Capital City area as the Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame has finally come to their senses, and they're inducting Coach Bobby Halford into the Hall of Fame down there. And I talked to somebody over at the broadcasters' kickoff gathering that was doing one of the documentaries, doing some of the tech stuff for that induction coming up, and said he was really impressed by what he got to hear from Coach Halford. He said it's kind of weird to induct somebody while they're still coaching. Normally you got to wait about 5 years after they're done. I said, well, count us down at least for two of them because Coach Knight was inducted a long time ago. But
Right.
We're happy to have both of those guys now entering the hall together, and it's going to be a special time for all of us.
Yes, very exciting. Obviously, well deserved for Coach Halford, and not just for the games that he's won, but anytime I think that you can, spend 50 years in a place making a difference in young people's lives and giving people opportunities that they may not have had otherwise. I think that says a lot, and he's done that, and he's done it with great integrity. And I can't think of anyone any more deserving of going into the Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame than him. And I will make a shameless plug for our next candidate, hopefully, for that. I spoke with Coach John Stevenson on the phone this morning, and he is another William Carey great that we would definitely love to get into that Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame in the future.
Yeah, long-time coach. Was he coach, and pardon me for forgetting some of my Carey history, he was at the helm for the national championship team in 1969, correct? Or was
He was not. He was right after
Right
that.
after that. I knew the timelines were close. Who was the coach that year?
That was John O'Keefe.
John O'Keefe. I see the two Johns got me mixed up again. But
I think Coach Stevenson came in 72 or 73, if I'm not mistaken.
And Coach Halford was an assistant under him as part of that 1978 World Series team as well.
Correct. Coach Halford actually played 2 years under Coach O'Keefe and 2 years under Coach Stevenson, and then stayed on coaching with Coach Stevenson.
It makes sense. So,
and then, Coach Stevenson was a long time, MLB player, and then he was a Major League Baseball assistant, and then spent at least 10 or 15 years as a minor league assistant as well. So, head coach in the minor leagues. So he certainly been around baseball, and he's another one that I think is very deserving of going into that Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame.
Well, and for anybody that's curious about how they can stay plugged in, and if they want to kind of represent William Carey or support Coach Halford as they have the induction coming up, it's going to be a 2-day event. There's the drawdown of champions, which is kind of a meet and greet party celebrating the inductees on Friday, July 31st. That'll be from 6 o'clock until it ends at the Sheraton in Flowood in Conference Center over there. And then there's another Meet the Inductees moment Saturday, August 1st from 10 to 11:30 in the morning. But the banquet, which is the big thing, is the ticketed reception. Arrivals, doors open, whatever you want to call it, starts at 5:30 in the evening, and the dinner and program are at 7 o'clock. Tickets are available. Go to msfame.com. Ben, are you going to be there?
I will certainly be there, Lord willing.
That's it. Hopefully there's a spot at the table if I get free after all. But they're fairly affordable to go to the meet and greet areas. Again, all that information is online and available to you at msfame.com. Ben, we got about a minute left. Any other exciting things you want to mention as we kind of roll down the final weeks until sports season is right back here?
Well, we've got athletes coming into campus at the end of this week. Our soccer teams will start arriving. Volleyball will start arriving cross country. So, summer came and went, it seems like. But obviously a lot of new coaching changes with Ryan McKenzie heading to Alcorn. So we'll be hopefully hiring a new track coach here in the next few days, and then new women's soccer coaches. Just a lot of moving parts, some different things in sports information. So if you're a William Carey fan, there'll be some new faces this year, but the same standards.
That's right. That's what we like to hear. Well, Ben, appreciate you taking some time out of your Monday evening to spend it with us, and we look forward to getting right back into the swing of things with some more sports, and we get to talk about actual live action.
That's right. Great talking to you guys. Thank you for having me.
Hey, thanks so much, Ben, for joining us. All right, we got one final segment coming up. Josh and I will wrap things up with you when we return. It's a summer edition, Monday, here on Crusader Talk. Stay with us.
Talking everything William Carey University athletics. This is Crusader Talk on SuperTalk Hattiesburg 97.3 and SuperTalkHattiesburg.com.
You have a buddy of mine that does a routine radio show. His name's Matt Wyatt. And a lot of times the last hour of his program, he just calls it the casserole hour. Because it's just a whole bunch of stuff just thrown together. Cook it all up. It ends up being pretty good. But
you say this is the casserole episode. Is that where you're going?
It's pretty much the casserole episode, I feel like.
Yeah, casseroles are good. The right casserole.
The right kind of casserole.
Nothing wrong with a casserole.
That's right. Nothing wrong with a good bowl of ice cream either.
Hey.
You should have seen me. So I told Dalton this story. So the other day, my wife hits me up and goes, "You know what? Can you just go with Nash to the store and he'll get some ice cream?" Sure. I didn't bat an eye. I was just tell me kind of roughly what kind of thing you're thinking about. She was like, "I just want some ice cream with like a chocolate crunch on the outside." Like, okay, so like a dilly bar, fudge bar type thing maybe from the store. Well, I get that. And then I found a pint of one of my favorite types of ice cream. It was for a decent deal. Then I take it home. I finish that pint in 2 sittings. I try to split it up. You don't want to just sit down and eat 700 calories of ice cream. You want to just do 340 each time. Because then it all evens out, right?
Yeah.
Or no, it was 370.
Close enough.
I found a pint for $1,200 at PNC Park.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I bet that was some good ice cream.
Some good ice cream.
Yeah.
3 of us ate only half of it and just threw the other half away. It was $13 for a pint of ice cream.
Wasteful, sir. Yeah. By the way, Lewiston, Idaho. I'm gonna get to the finish of my story in a second, but when I did go to Lewiston, Idaho, we stopped in Coeur d'Alene on the way. It's kind of a resort town. Oprah's got a house there. It's all kinds of different stuff. But there is a restaurant in their resort hotel, and one of their specialties are giant milkshake, sundae, ice cream concoction things, where you basically have like an entire giant brownie, shoved into the top of this milkshake. They make all kinds of extravagant flavors and arrangements of it. And we didn't know they offered a junior size. So my wife and I each got a milkshake.
Oh.
We barely made dents in that thing.
Do you not remember the place that used to be here in Hattiesburg?
I do, over there
Yard?
in Midtown.
The Yard.
Yeah. It's the same thing, but my wife and I we split one because we knew better.
Yeah, but I'm talking. Those were at least in mason jars. This thing was in like a chalice. I hate to do the comparison, but like think of the giant margarita glasses that you see at these Mexican restaurants,
Like the big ones?
Yeah, ice cream. And we got 2 of them suckers.
Oh.
It was, my pocketbook felt it, and so did my stomach. But you know what? It was all part of the experience. You never know how many times you're going to get to go to the World Series. For me, it was just the one for right now. If I had gone every time Carey's been to the World Series, I would have gone 3 times in the last 4 years. But to end the story on the most recent ice cream escapade, so I went back to the store today on my way into the studio. And I was like, what if I got another pint? And I look over. I was like, okay, there's that. And then I look just down the way, and they're running a sale. It was just for $2 more, you get a whole half gallon. I said, who am I to turn down such a deal? And then I came in the studio and I offered Dalton some. And so I feel like I've done a good deed in helping my fellow man.
No, you didn't tell the whole story. If he walks in here and Mitchell and I are in the middle of doing his show, he waves to us, then comes back in here and he stands next to the counter sitting eating his ice cream out of the cup and holds the cup and wants some.
Hey, butter pecan, that's a great flavor.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. You were telling me earlier today, we are literally a month away from our first action of women's soccer.
A month.
To the day.
To the day.
That's crazy.
Here we are. Yeah, this summer has been insanely quick.
Yeah. So to give you a programming note, anybody listening out there, I know you may have just enjoyed the banter for the day, and I hope you have. And if you made it this far, you must have nothing better to do. But nevertheless, our upcoming episodes, we're going to be starting the breakdown of some season previews for the upcoming fall sports. That includes volleyball, men's and women's soccer, and also probably going to go down the lane of cross country or outdoor track and field, whichever makes the most sense given where we are in the situation of getting people hired and into campus. But we're looking forward to it. Jack Hartley's inaugural season as William Carey women's head coach. Now, we've already spoken to him once this summer, but we'll get more of a concrete preview, especially the schedule, and as people actually make it to campus and that roster gets fully solidified. Barry, we got to hear about how it was back in the homeland. He's been in Ireland on a trip. He got back today. So we get to talk about how things were. How was the Irish breakfast? How are the lads?
And he enjoyed the World Cup from there.
Oh, absolutely. Although the time was probably a rough time for him.
And the Open.
Yes. Oh, goodness. So much we got to get. He'll probably sit in for an entire episode with us just talking about that. But to Jack, Tom, we are so sorry. Sorry for the day that you had on Wednesday when England was put into the consolation bracket. But you finished a spot above France. And you got $2 million more than those Francophiles did. So you can hang your hat on that. Our English friends.
Kudos to knowing the proper lingo. I had no idea that was the lingo.
That's just people that speak French. So
is it actually the proper lingo?
You have Francophiles, in different parts of the world. I think they're just called. No, I was going to say they're Francs. No, that's their currency outside of euros. But I don't know.
I'm impressed.
Franks makes me want a hot
French
dog.
people.
I mean, just being honest with you.
Do you know how people in France, start a dinner or celebrate somebody at dinner?
No.
You give them a French toast.
Really?
Nah, I got him, boys. And that's the way we close out with a good dad joke here on Crusader Talk. For Dalton, Josh West, I'm Caleb Hamill. Until next time, good night, God bless, and go Saders.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.